September 25th, the new Fox Tuesday kicks off with New Girl's new season. Then welcome Ben and Kate.
Stay away from my sister before you find out what 6 years of Krav Maga feels like. Well, like year and a half plus like 4 years on and off I was traveling.
Followed by another all-new New Girl.
What am I looking at here? Pure, unadulterated friendship.
And the Mindy Project.
Can't believe you're tattling.
Tattling is when a little girl does it, okay? When a hot woman does it, it's called whistleblowing.
The new Fox Tuesday, premieres September 25th on Fox.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Dexter After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Dexter After Show.
Hello, everybody out there. Bing is for doing, and we are doing a Dexter pre-show because it has not yet aired from AfterBuzz. I am Steve Bottomley. I am joined in the studio by
Sean Overman.
Yes.
And JJ Jurgens.
And again, if you'd like to join the conversation, just give us a call at 424-256-1729. And we're just going to spend about 30 minutes, maybe 10, 5. And we're just going to kind of recap, get everybody back into the Dexter groove. We've been out of it for a while.
Got to get you fired up for the new season.
You got to get all the knives sharpened and all the implements back on the...
Cleaned.
All cleaned and sterilized. Although, would you need to sterilize for his work? Well,
I don't think so.
You don't, but he probably does.
He probably does because he doesn't want all that biohazard taken home with him.
Well, that is what will trip him up.
Yeah.
Is all the small little things. That's what he's very good at. So, where did we leave off last season? Well, let's just kind of recap last season and get people, back up to date. And it was an interesting season.
It was.
They kind of went on a little departure. What was your guys' take on it?
Well, clearly we had. Well, one of the big things is that we had Edward James Olmos, who played Geller, Professor Geller, and he was the supposed serial killer for most of that season. But then it ended up not being him because he was dead, and it ended up being Colin Hanks' character Travis.
Right, and Kristen, wherever she is, wherever you are, she actually called up pretty soon. She said, "I don't think he's alive."
Yeah.
And as soon as she did that, we kept looking for the clues. And when you saw that little trigger, it's like, oh yeah, look, he's not there, and he's not there. Judge, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it was an interesting season for me. It was a departure, and I gotta say, honestly, not my favorite season. I'm a huge super fan of the show, and it was just a little less than the others for me. So I'm really looking forward to the new season, and I can't wait to see what happens with Dexter. And
they really went internal with the character. They really decided to go, look, we're going to give him this internal debate about the moral code versus the higher good versus the spiritual. They'd had the interesting overlay about the professor and all the religious overtones to the different scenes. And
of course with Dexter we have his father to him who taught him his moral code or his code that he uses to not get caught and all these other things, right? He obviously his father is like God to him pretty much because he taught him this code and they gave him these commandments. But then we have the mainstream way of thinking where everybody else is like, okay, religion is this way, this is the way ethics are, you can't kill people, la la la.
And yet God kills people all the time.
Oh yeah.
So
smites them.
He does. He's quite the smiter. Send all the letters to them. So yeah, it was. I liked where the writers went with it. It was an interesting thing. I think the problem I was having with it was all the action was out of Dexter's hands. The previous season he was driving the various things. He had to take care of business. And he was just chasing his whole season, just trying to find out who did it. There was no, as much as the debate was happening, I didn't feel like he was right in the center of it. It seemed like Deborah was more in the center of it, and they spent a lot of times with like the Quinn relationship and all that sort of thing.
One of the big things from last season was Deborah's feelings towards Dexter, and she's always had those inappropriate relationships with men, right? She always sleeps with guys that are maybe too old for her, co-workers, witnesses in cases.
Yeah.
And now she thinks she's in love with Dexter.
Well, I think, but it's also she also has a hard time, I think, having that emotional connection with men, and so that's probably why she chooses the situations that she shouldn't. And Dexter's the one person she's been able to always have, like, at least on her end, she doesn't feel he opens up enough to her, but she was always open to him and could tell him everything. And
so the unattainable male is who she will. Which is really funny because he can't. Well, you think he can't, except, we'll get to the cliffhanger. But
ultimately, this whole situation sucks for Deborah because her stupid psychiatrist, who's assigned by the police department, is doing a terrible job and tells her, oh, if you're attracted to him, it's okay. He's not your blood brother. It's like, okay, but we know they are half related and no one else knows. So it's just awful.
Yeah, the whole it's not blood brother thing is like, oh, no. You don't want to see Marcia and Greg. It's just like, no, sorry. No, I agree with that, but I didn't think that was a really good therapist. As much as I've gone through it, she wasn't very good. So what were some? Well, you hit on Edward James Olmos, which I thought he died in real life. I thought he. And
there were rumors going around
that he had cancer and did not. I mean, it was on the air. People saying, oh yes, we lost a great actor today, and I was like, oh bummer. How did he not? I think I'm wrong.
It's amazing how people like tweet stuff and Facebook posts, and then they end up being like terrible rumors later on.
Because when I saw who the guest star was, I was looking at Kristen. I was like, oh, that had to have been like one of his last things. Because didn't he? And she's like, yeah, I think he did. I think we're wrong, right? He's still living. I think correct.
You know what? I think he did actually pass away. But I was just referring to like all kinds of other things. Like just recently, there were some actors that people said passed away.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
Okay. Well, if anyone knows,
if you guys want to get mad at us and comment us for being wrong,
get in line,
please.
No, we do enjoy all the comments. We do enjoy all the comments. In fact, what we love is when you go to iTunes and you rate and comment on the shows. It really helps us for two reasons. One, I don't know what that first one is, but the second one is we do read all the comments and we get input and we do listen to them.
And we do shout outs to the fans.
We do shout outs, absolutely. So absolutely, go to iTunes, bring up Dexter on AfterBuzz, rate us, say we're awesome, or
give us 5 stars.
5 stars would be great, or just. And here's the thing: if you're gonna like come after me, be creative. Seriously.
Yeah, we want to hear what you want us to talk about and things you like.
Absolutely,
and enjoy.
Absolutely.
You can be blunt too. It's okay. I'll take the bluntness.
I like blunt. Colin Hanks was also the psycho, and we were having a discussion earlier about him.
Yes, he played Travis.
He played Travis, and
he ended up being the actual killer.
Right, right. And now he started out this meek sort of just little follower, and then had to transition into this very serious. Now, what did you think of that transition? Well, he was, well, because he did start out really.
Yes, yeah, I liked the transition.
Did you?
I did because I just thought it gave more level to his character. Getting away from just being the meek kind of follower, and I thought it was a good change for.
You really seemed like he got really excited when he got to finally be this nasty guy, because when he got people into his sights, you got kind of nervous. You got kind of scared.
He picked them off very easily. It's like he didn't care about killing others that were in his way. Oh, it's part of God's plan. God.
Yeah, and he was proficient at it. There was a couple of moments in there Well, you had mentioned when we were talking about his level of ability as a serial killer.
I thought he was probably one of the weakest among the serial killers. That's just from my personal opinion. I feel like all the other ones, they had something a little bit more about him. He was the only one who was zealous about religion. And I think he was the only one who was really, really delusional and crazy, where he's like seeing things. Obviously, he was hallucinating that he was seeing Geller like command and tell him what to do.
Yeah, because until you discover that it was actually Travis doing all the work, there were very elaborate scenarios that the police were walking into and Dexter was walking, and then for some reason all that creativity went away. And that was a part that I didn't quite understand. I didn't see that point of, well, you were doing this before because the professor didn't exist. So why are you not still able to do this? That was just a beat that I think they missed.
Do you mean creativity in the sense of the character Travis having creativity? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the killing, right?
In the killing, right.
Yeah.
Because suddenly it was like, and can you remember what was it that triggered that disconnect from the professor? Do you remember?
I think he was in the basement.
Right.
Yeah, I think wasn't he? He was in the basement of the church, and I think that's where he realized that it was just him. Because Dexter obviously found the professor's body, and then that's where like the realization happened with us as the audience, like really truly, the professor's dead in the coffin or wherever he was stored in the freezer.
Right.
And then that's where I think the next episode after that, that's where it showed Travis's disconnect.
Okay, so that's what made Travis just lost. Okay, well, it worked. I guess it's going to work. What was there anything else from the last season that that was kind of contained back there? That nothing. I mean, we still have Quinn. We were putting a time clock on him. We figured he was going to.
We felt like he was going to die this season.
Yeah, every episode is like, okay, next season prediction. Quinn goes, but he's still with us. Batista is still there.
Yep.
Deborah is still a lieutenant.
She is still a lieutenant.
Still a lieutenant.
And you mentioned when we were talking earlier off camera that she actually she's struggling, right, with her job as lieutenant. So,
yeah, I'm not buying that she's a lieutenant.
She's too young and inexperienced.
Just the questions she asks on crime scenes. And I think the writers are making a mistake by making her language so coarse.
I love her language.
Do you?
I do.
But from a standpoint of feeling like you're in control or feeling like you're in charge, just from a writer's point, it's better to give you better language as opposed to sort of the chorus.
I think that's where they're probably struggling with giving her, a role like that, but also keeping true to the people that really love that character as Deb. Because honestly, her foul mouth and the things she says, I just love.
It makes her endearing. I feel.
Right. But and I agree with the foul, and I agree with that. I think what I'm saying is, it's when the comment is just kind of like ignorant or silly. It's just
where she just like blurts things out because they're on her mind.
Yeah.
And there was a lot more of that, I felt, last season, that some of them were like a little more random.
And that requires her team to give her a lot of slack and not look over at her like, oh, really? Seriously? And we're supposed to follow your directions? Why? So, it was just one of those things that it wasn't easy for me to just set that aside when I was watching it and just like, oh, come on. Just a little bit more work than you could have had. You just tweak those lines a little bit more. I think that's what I'm saying. I've stopped listening, so I don't know.
Well, with us being, we watch the show obviously here. We watch it unedited, so we get to hear all the foul language and whatnot. It's really interesting how I actually saw a 2-minute teaser, I guess, of like the beginning of the very first episode of this upcoming season. I saw it, like someone posted it on Facebook, and I clicked on it, I was able to watch it. And I think it might be on Showtime, the website, show's website. So it's interesting how much she actually swears, because it had to be edited because it's free and it's out there. So every other word with her, it's just like bleeped out. And when she's confronting Dexter during the whole kill.
This is the beginning of the next.
Yes.
Oh, so post Travis disposal.
Exactly. Well, not disposal. He's still laying there.
Well, yeah, not fully disposed.
Yeah.
You know, you heard in the promo that Fox has got some cool shows coming up, and we got Zoe Deschanel in New Girl. That's cool, right?
Dorky and funny.
Dorky and funny. We got Ben and Kate coming up, and Mindy Kaling is now off of The Office on her own thing, The Mindy Project.
That's right.
So we're gonna check those out, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Popcorn, soda pop.
The Mindy one, I believe she writes and produces it herself, right?
She's funny.
I think so.
She is.
They're all funny, but dang, she was hilarious on The Office. So I'm sure,
She was amazing on The
very good
Office.
show. So this is going to be for Dexter. This is going to be season 7. Yes.
I think it might be 6.
I
I think it's 6.
Is it 6?
It might be
okay,
6
because
or
8 is the end. So we've got 3 more seasons. We've got this season 7 and then 8. Okay. We were also chatting about who's going to fill in for Travis and the Professor. And we were really hoping that you remembered the video designer, the character that plays a video designer, the game. Do you remember his name?
Oh.
We don't remember it.
I don't remember his
name either.
name
And we were searching
either.
around and we couldn't find it.
He's the one that sold the stuff on eBay.
Yeah, and they dropped all those little things. He had one of the truck killer.
The ice truck
Actually,
killer.
The
I
ice truck
believe-
killer.
Yeah.
Okay, it's actually season 7 now.
It's
it
season
was
7 now.
season 6 last season.
Okay. So we have 2 more seasons.
Yes, including
So-
this one.
Right. So the end of next season is the end of the show.
That's good. Not that I ever want to see this show end, but I do like it when the shows put a end date on there, because then you have something to write for, and I feel like the story really picks up. So I think that'll help.
Agreed.
Yeah, it will pick up, and also when it's coming to an end, everybody is on the chopping block. So usually like season 3. No, you're not. New guy is, but now everything is amped up. So. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
great.
Dexter will make it to the end. Maybe.
Do you think he's going to sail off into the sunset on his boat, free and clear?
I don't know, because once they introduced the child, once they introduced his son, everything changed. And that was, real quick to go back, that was one of the things that last season also I thought was interesting. They were he's trying to figure out his way as a father, as well as
A killer.
Right.
And a public servant.
As a public servant. But I mean, what kind of lessons, how are you going to change those lessons so your child understands it? How are you going to still be a dad and not have this schizophrenic sort of, no, I'm really a good person, although I enjoy my work way too much.
Or is he going to train his son like his father did?
Yeah, except that you need to have that one kind of core, You can't go, son, this is family work.
Right.
Father and son
Here's your
day.
knife. Yeah.
Family business.
Bring your son to work day. So,
well, he is on a good path. He got started. I think he's still going to maintain a separation. Almost like the separation we had between church and state. Separation with him having his nightlife, his moonlighting as a serial killer, versus having his son at home. Because he wants to. Obviously, his son has a babysitter. Batista's sister, constantly there all the time, taking care of him, right? And then we have him being set up to go to that preschool, right? Which is going to be a Catholic preschool where Batista's family goes too. So it's going to be he's starting his son on a good path of faith and religion, spirituality, whereas Dexter didn't have those things. He wants more for his son.
And that really is see, what's so frustrating about this is the character that you really want to talk to, the character that you really want to open up won't. I want to have a conversation with Dexter about, well, where does God play in this? Where are you on par with him? Are you not? Or are you doing his business? Well, then that was a really small push to Travis and the Professor. That's a conversation. I don't think they had that last season. No.
They at the very end where he just stabs Travis through the heart. He does say something where it's kind of like he accepts his role in God's plan.
In God's
like
plan.
he kind of believes, like before Dexter was like completely atheist, but now it seems like he is like he's that necessary evil that there is in the world. That's what he feels like.
Well, they did use a whole season to show his spirituality and to lay that groundwork in. So it'll be interesting to see where that comes in and how, because here's where the series pops, is when we get to see Dexter go after the bad guys and how he plots it, how he takes care of it, and that moment of when they realize he's going to win and he really enjoys his work. All of that is great stuff. That's when it pops. But if you've got a spiritual right-wrong overlay on that, that's some pretty good juggling that you're going to need to do. So we will see.
What actually is an interesting thing to look at is obviously in the early seasons, season 1, season 2, we had a lot more random bad guys getting killed by Dexter. People who were just like there for one episode, he used them to hunt to satisfy himself, and they were gone. And as the seasons have gone on, I noticed that we have more like big time serial killers that are there, and a lot less of those people, those like expendable killers and criminals. So I wonder, do you think in the coming season, are we going to go back to having a few more expendable people, or like half a dozen more at least?
Well, JJ, I don't know about you, but when they had that one storyline played out all of last season, the energy dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think you were also coming off with when John Lithgow was, the killer. It was like the best.
Trinity.
Yeah, the Trinity Killer was like the best season of television ever. So I think that also made it really difficult for me, as I was on such a high after that season, So I think for the next killers to try to compare to that level was just, I think anybody was going to have a really tough time. Doing that intense of a dynamic.
Oh, I can feel your intensity.
I love
You're shaking the table.
It was so good. It was like, oh, another episode. God, I can wait till the next Sunday.
Well, I like I said, I liked where they took it. I liked that journey, but during the whole debate that they were having, I kept thinking, there's got to be someone that needs to die.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody out there that Dexter can just take care of. So we're going to be wrapping this up pretty quick. This upcoming season, Deborah evidently knows that's going to be really hard to cover up.
It's going to be, after seeing that 2-minute teaser of the first episode, it's Dexter. He's always had such creative ways of lying, and then people just believe him. And Deborah's obviously, I feel like she's going to fall into that again, where she's clearly going to have to believe him because number one, it's her brother, and number two, she just doesn't want anything to happen to him.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was pretty much done.
Was there anything you saw in the teaser? I haven't seen the teaser yet that you were like, No,
not too much. It's just him lying his butt off. He's got Travis there, still on the chopping block, wrapped in plastic, not even dismembered yet. And she's like, "What the hell are you doing, Dexter? Why do you have him there? You can't explain this away." And he's trying. He's trying. Obviously, it's going to happen beyond that 2 minutes. But I'm interested to see how.
Yeah, to me, there's only a couple of ways this thing can go. She's either going to say, "You're this guy, and I have to accept that," or she's going to say, "Okay, I believe you." And the problem is Dexter doesn't really change in his arc. His character never shifts. So it's required of all the peripheral characters to make these shifts for the story to move along.
What if she? Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But what if she ends up totally accepting him being a serial killer?
Now that I think is interesting.
Yeah, and if that happens, is she going to be feeding him guys that she thinks deserve to die? From the case files?
I was looking at this thing going, brother, sister, Bonnie, Clyde. I mean, because they're kind of laying it in where she's like, I think I can accept him no matter who he is. They spent a lot of time on that this last season. And then they're saying, okay, well, here's who he is. And so what are you going to do here? And just from a character point, it's going to be hard for me to see her believe what he says and not what she sees.
Right.
And not have any ramification, not have any overflow on that, not just continually just say, oh, it's just him with his hobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to deal with this. If it's a thing where they don't, there's just gonna be a white elephant in the room, and it's not that big a room.
Or a pink elephant.
Pink elephant. And of course, the video game guy, who we all know his name. I think it's Video Game Guy.
We got him sleeping with Batista's sister.
He's got to be coming back.
Oh, he is. He has to be too. Yeah.
And do you think he knows who Dexter is? Because
That is a good question.
his whole thing is he wants to do a video game about a serial killer, and Dexter's like, that's crazy. Who would want to do that? But he's hanging around for a reason, and he knows. They've already shown that he's got some. The ice truck killer.
He had the mannequin's arm.
Right. So they're laying in he has history. I don't know. What do you think? Think he knows Dexter? Think he knows?
I don't think he does. I think he just sees Dexter as being, that guy he looked up to at one point, but I don't think he knows he's a serial killer.
Maybe he'll be another one that'll kind of, start to have suspicions about him. Maybe, come back and then, I don't know, start having suspicions of Dexter. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with the video. And as far as, like, is he going to be savvy enough to do, like, try to market it and create these scenes on his own and then say, oh, yeah, it's part of my video game. What a coincidence. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'm not sure what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, that would be interesting if that happened.
Yeah. Here's what I hope for this season. Here's my prediction. And now, prediction. No? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Thank you, John, in the booth.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay. Here's what I hope. I hope that this upcoming season, there is sort of more of a wild card on the loose. It was too controlled and laid out and everything this last season. I'd want the guy that they don't know, the grand spectacle was okay. But I
Totally agree.
Yeah, I'd much rather have the energy of just a crazy guy.
You mean like a crazed serial killer?
Yeah,
out there on
as
the loose,
opposed to
who we don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Just something to be
like
a little
that.
more surprised by, like more things you don't see coming, or
I agree. That reminds me of the ice truck killer. We did not know who he was until more than like 3/4 of the way through the season. So that I would love to have something like that back.
Maybe that was the when I'm saying the energy drop or whatever. Maybe it was because you were seeing both stories play out simultaneously. It was just kind of like there's no tension. There was no crazy tension going on. Well, that was my prediction, so I'm done. What do you guys have?
Can we jump on your prediction?
Sure, absolutely.
Do you mind if I'll do my prediction second?
Absolutely.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I think that, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I feel like Deb is, I think she is going to accept Dexter. She's going to be reluctant at first, but I think she is going to help him out. And what I kind of want to see, I don't know if the writers will go this way, but there's only 2 seasons left. Why not make the incestuous relationship happen?
There you go.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of that in this season, because you can't have her dealing. You just kind of lay that out there and be like, oh, never mind. So I think that is going to, and maybe that's why, because of her feelings, she will accept him, because if she truly loves him and loves everything, so maybe that'll be a new kind of,
She'll just
something
have to
for her
go
to deal with.
She'll have to go along with the code. Well, there you go, folks. That is our pre-Dexter show for season 7, which will be starting next week.
That's right.
And it's on Showtime on Sunday. Check your local listings. Tune in for all your favorite shows at AfterBuzz. A lot of the hosts do a lot of different things, and we're all awesome. Where do we find you, wonderful people?
You can find me on Twitter at Sean_Overman, and you can check out my website too, SeanOverman.org, for curing all your Netflix syndrome.
There you go.
And I'm on Twitter at JJ Jurgens, and my website is jjjurgens.com.
I'm just hanging around. Chances are I'm at Trader Joe's, checking it out. Good samples. So that's it. We'll see you next week for the Dexter AfterBuzz show. And hey, everybody, have a good week, and we will see you then.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.